Former beauty queen, Miss Houston County 2005, Lindsay Shirley Shiver had it all: looks, popularity, money, 2 homes, a private jet, 3 beautiful children, and a successful husband. But it wasn't enough. When nasty plots, devious schemes, and dirty little secrets are uncovered, the world flips upside down, and a queen shall topple. Before we begin, we would like to send our deepest sympathies to Robert Shiver and others who were affected by the terrible actions described in this case. Note: please be aware that you will hear the word allegedly several times, as this is an ongoing case. Robert Shiver was originally from Thomasville, Georgia, but with a 3-year scholarship, he headed to Auburn University in Alabama. There, he would play football as a long snapper for the Tigers from 2006 to 2008. In 2009, Robert was signed by the NFL Atlanta Falcons, but was cut before ever playing. Lindsay Shirley also attended Auburn University and caught Robert's eye in 2007. She was a cheerleader, a former beauty queen, and a fitness buff. She and Robert met in a college fitness class at Auburn University, and soon they would begin dating. After Robert's graduation in 2009 with a degree in business administration, he was hired at Senior Life Insurance Company. He did exceptional work and climbed the ladder, and is at present an executive senior vice president at the company. Lindsay graduated the same year as Robert with a marketing degree. They continued dating even after graduation, and then on March 6, 2010, the two were married. The life of the couple, by all appearances, was perfect. They made their home back in Thomasville, Georgia, in a $2.5 million, 7,800 square foot home with 7 bedrooms, 7 baths on 4 acres of land. Lindsay became a Southern housewife while Robert worked and brought in the money. Eventually, the two had 3 boys, beautiful blonde-headed children that were a blessing to them. By all appearances, the family was just about perfect. A secondary property was purchased on the island of Abaco in the Bahamas as a holiday and vacation home for the family. Robert shared ownership of a private jet, which they used to shuttle the family back and forth between Georgia and the Bahamas. And it was nice that Robert's estimated worth was a little over $9 million. Life for the family was excellent. Or was it? Things hit a brick wall in 2022 when Robert claimed that Lindsay had snuck an 18-year-old lover into their home in the Bahamas. He found out by sneaking a look at a text on Lindsay's Apple Watch when she had taken it off her wrist. Robert allegedly confronted Lindsay, and the two talked it out. They made the decision to try to work through this unfortunate incident, especially for the sake of their children. Robert then learned of an alleged fling with a man named Terrence Adrian Bethel, who goes by Adrian, in February of 2023. Bethel worked at the Grabbers Bar and Grill at the Great Guana Cay in the Bahamas, not far from the Shriver's vacation home. Lindsay had met the man when she visited the bar on one of their trips to the islands. Lindsay had started to act differently after she began making frequent trips to the family's second home in the Bahamas, so Robert hired a private investigator to follow her while she was there. Allegedly, the private investigator was able to capture several photos of the 36-year-old Lindsay spending time with the 28-year-old bartender named Adrian. The two had been seen together in several places around the area. Robert apparently confronted Bethel and sarcastically thanked him for taking care of his wife. So on April the 5th, 2023, Robert filed for divorce. The reason? Adulterous conduct by his wife. Eventually, Robert would use the evidence from the private investigator of Lindsay's new conquest in the divorce proceedings. He would seek primary custody of their children and sole ownership of the $2.5 million home, the furnishings, his truck, and also sought a restraining order against Lindsay. Lindsay herself filed the next day and countered with accusations of physical and mental cruel treatment by Robert. She claimed that he was abusive and that she didn't feel safe in their home. So, what had brought this about in the so-perfect marriage? Lindsay had practically announced daily to the world through her social media for years that her marriage was a dream come true. After 10 years of marriage and 3 children, things were about to become very nasty. In Robert's civil suit, he claims that Lindsay shouldn't be entitled to alimony. She had a marketing degree from Auburn and was quite capable of getting a job and working. Lindsay countered that she had been a stay-at-home primary caregiver for the children. In doing so, her employment opportunities would be sparse. She also believed she should have custody of the children and that the children didn't need to be around Robert's alleged abuse. Lindsay also alleged that Robert had cut off her funds, which she had been using to run the household. Robert had also kept the children from communicating with their mother and keeping them for long periods of time away from her. As far as the newest affair, she would quickly defend herself, claiming the affair was during their recent separation. Robert found out about the affair in February 2023, and didn't file for divorce until April of 2023, and they lived, even though in separate rooms, in the same house after the papers were filed. The Shivers' divorce court case documents would show that more than just a steamy affair was going on. It would be something more shameful. From February until April, when Robert filed for divorce, both he and Lindsay had called 911 numerous times on each other. Robert placed his first call on February 20th, requesting officers to accompany him to get his belongings from their Georgia home.
So, my wife just got back from out of town, and I believe that we are heading down the road of getting divorced. She just cut my cell phone off from Verizon. She called Verizon and had my cell phone disconnected. So I'm calling on my mother's phone at the Verizon store because the only way I can get it back active is if she releases it. Mm-hmm. So I have to go over to our home. And with the way that she is behaving, I feel like she might try and call the police to try to set me up as soon as I get there. And I wanted to try to get out in front of it because I'm not a risk of, doing anything crazy. I'm just trying to go to my house, and if I need to pack my stuff and leave, I can pack my stuff and leave. But my kids are there, and, I don't want it to be presented as she goes and screams bloody murder, calls the police, so nothing to try to have me carried off in a police car.
The next 911 call was made on April the 12th by Robert about an envelope placed in the mailbox of their Georgia home.
Listen, I do not have an emergency right now, but I was wanting to just kind of put you guys on notice of something that it's been kind of odd. Mm-hmm. Are you the right person to talk to, or do I need to be transferred to dispatch, or what?
This is dispatch.
Okay, so today at work, I had a letter delivered to me, and it was a USB thumb drive. And it didn't have a return to sender address or anything, and so I plugged the thumb drive in, and it had all these pictures of my wife on it from about 2 weeks ago when we were out of the country. And the same thumb drive was delivered to my parents' house about a mile away in an unmarked envelope. And it looks like, glancing through, that it was almost like a private investigator.
Robert then called on April the 30th to say that his wife was acting crazy and making threats. He claimed that she was following his mother's car, trying to get the children.
We're having a dispute. I've got our kids and trying to figure out how to handle the situation that I'm in.
Okay, so it's more of a custody dispute?
Well, my wife and I are going through a divorce, and I've been gone all weekend, and she just threatened myself and my mother to bring the kids back, and her mom is saying to take her to the ER or check her into some mental some institution because we think she's having kind of a midlife crisis mental breakdown, so it's super unstable. And she just followed my parents when they left the house trying to find the kids, and deputies were called, but since we live in a city, they said we need to call Thomasville City instead of the county.
Okay. Did your parents have the children with them?
No, the kids are with me.
The same disturbance was captured on body cam, recorded by Thomas County Sheriff's deputies when they located Lindsay.
Lindsay's mother-in-law can also be seen on the police body cam. She says Lindsay's own parents were worried about her mental health.
Lindsay was not answering their phone calls all day today, so they thought she killed herself, to be honest.
July the 16th, 2023 was when the next call to 911 came in about a disturbance, and police responded to the Shiver address in Thomasville, Georgia. The female officer asked Lindsay what it was that she wants them to do in order to help her. Perhaps things might be better if they got away from each other, and included not going on vacation together.
So what's going on? Y'all are separated, or what's the deal?
We have filed for divorce.
Okay.
Living in the same house. It's hell on earth, as you can imagine.
Okay.
But anyway, woke up this morning. We have travel plans to leave. And he's insisting that I don't go.
Okay.
And then I have my keys. He moves me out of the way, starts trying to unload my car. Tells me he owns the car, he owns the rights to it. Just got super aggressive, and that's when I called immediately, because he's been physical before, and I'm just not doing that.
So are you just wanting to leave, or is he supposed to be going with you?
Yeah, we're supposed to be going with our kids.
Okay. All right.
The female officer then asked to speak to Robert to get his side of the story.
Okay, so what's going on this morning?
So for the last 3 weeks, maybe longer, she's had her couples trip planned with her boyfriend to go to Key West.
Okay, but she just said you're going.
So that was to Key West.
But they don't.
I'm taking my kids, my 3 boys, to the Bahamas this morning.
Our kids.
Our kids. Yesterday, she sent a message saying that she's going to change her plans and now get on the airplane with me and the kids to go to the Bahamas.
That I own too,
and
by
when
the
we
way.
land, she's going to go to her boyfriend.
Elsewhere.
And me and the kids are going to our house. And I told her I'm not supporting that. And you're not getting on the airplane. That can mess with the kids' heads. And it's just something we're not going to do.
No charges were filed on Robert or Lindsay, but she did eventually make her way to the Bahamas to spend time with her boyfriend, Adrian Bethel. It is unknown where she stayed, as Robert and the kids were vacationing in the Bahamas also, and it would be assumed that the children would stay at the vacation home and Lindsay would stay somewhere else. It is alleged that during this time, Lindsay was sending messages to Bethel and another man, 29-year-old Farron Newbold Jr. She also sent photos of her husband to Newbold, along with the message, "Kill him." Police officers in the Bahamas had been called to investigate a break-in at a local food establishment called Grabber's Bar and Grill, located in Guana Cay. Thinking it could have been an inside job, the police insisted on checking the night manager's phone. Of course, the night manager was Adrian Bethel. When checking the phone, the officer came across messages between Bethel, Lindsay, and Newbold. Lindsay had allegedly sent Newbold a photo of Robert warming up to a female at Grabber's on July the 16th, 2023, and then the text to kill him. Had the police unintentionally uncovered a plot to murder Robert Shiver? The police warned Robert about the murderous intent from the texts, and for safety reasons, Robert and the children returned to the U.S. He had not told the children about the alleged murder plot, or that their mother had been arrested for it and was now in jail. Police were able to locate and arrest the 3 suspects on July the 21st, 2023. Lindsay would admit to sending the text, but would later claim that none of it was real or that she was serious. She was just venting her frustrations. Lindsay Shiver would spend 19 days locked up in Nassau's notorious Fox Hill prison, plagued with overcrowding, terrible conditions, and widespread brutality. Through this time, her family was shocked by the charges, and as most families go, they were disappointed in her actions. She had it all and threw it away. Her parents loved and supported her, and they couldn't believe that she would do something like this. She was finally released on August the 9th of 2023 on a $100,000 bond. She was required to wear an ankle monitor with GPS tracking, check in with the Central Police Station, and to remain in the Bahamas. If she is convicted, she could face up to 60 years in a Caribbean prison. Her parents had posted bond for her, and it's alleged that they might be paying for the house in the Bahamas that Lindsay has to stay in while under the court's rule. As for Bethel and Newbold, they are out on $20,000 bonds. They too have to wear ankle monitors, check in with the police, and remain in the Bahamas. All three had to surrender their passports. They could have no contact with each other or make contact with Robert Shiver. They have been charged as co-conspirators to commit murder and do have the same attorney. Lindsay's previous lawyer, Bree O. Sullivan Howell, requested to be removed from the case in August. It is unknown the reasons why this occurred, and she has hired a new attorney, Owen Wells, to handle the case.
That's something that we were paying close attention to, because remember when we were here when they were asking for her to be released from Fox Hill Prison when she was still in handcuffs, the other two, her boyfriend and the alleged hitman, they had already received bail. So they had their ankle monitors and they were wearing suits in court. And Lindsay had brushed up against her boyfriend. They were whispering, they were giggling, almost like high schoolers. And it was quite inappropriate for court, right? We don't usually see that. Again, no cameras in there, but they're also not supposed to speak with one another as co-defendants, and they were quite a bit in July. Lindsay and the co-defendants really talking to their attorneys. There was a little bit of whispering, a little bit of glancing at each other, but you had the alleged hitman in between Lindsay and her boyfriend the whole time. And then you heard my interaction, asking them if they still love each other. If we can play that. Lindsay, are you guys still in love? Do you still love Lindsay?
Those that know the three have allegedly said that it was all blown out of proportion, that they were all good people with good backgrounds, and some believe that the case will be thrown out of court. Yet there is a confession from Lindsay to the police when she was initially questioned.
Right, and we've heard about this alleged confession from time to time, and we heard that after the photos were sent and that text message allegedly saying kill him, that there was a confession after an investigation. So we were learning more about that today, more about the Crown's case against Lindsay Shiver and the co-conspirators. So when the prosecutors had a chance to speak today, they didn't oppose her being able to travel to the U.S., but they did oppose the fact that her defense, Mr. Wells, kept on saying that she's innocent and that she never gave a confession. So they wanted to set the record straight, and they read from the affidavit. Here's part of it. They said during an interview with police and Lindsay Shiver, she was asked, did you tell Terrence Bethel and Farron Newbold that you wanted to kill your husband? According to the Crown, she answered yes. And then when she was asked by police and detectives, did Terrence Bethel tell you that he wanted to kill your husband? Again, she answered yes. And Vinny, so we're getting a glimpse at the case that they are going to be presenting come March next year.
Another run of bad luck for Lindsay happened just hours after she had been in court. It appears there was a break-in at her temporary residence in the Bahamas while she was alone and sleeping. Allegedly, items taken were some expensive jewelry and about $200 in cash. They think the guy scaled the side of the building and let himself in through the balcony doors. We still don't know if it was targeted. He went through 2 other bedrooms, but fortunately, Lindsay's door was locked. Lindsay was back in court December 21st of 2023, where a judge ruled that she could be allowed to return to the U.S. to spend the holidays with her family under some conditions. She would wear an ankle monitor for the duration of her stay. She would also not be allowed to travel to Georgia, where her husband and 3 children still reside, unless it was required for her to attend court proceedings related to the divorce case or the custody battle. Robert did not agree with the decision, but the judge did rule in Lindsay's favor. Lindsay is ordered to stay in the state of Alabama with her parents, where she can spend time with them over Christmas and New Year's. She can also remain with them until her trial begins on March the 4th of 2024.
She's heading home for the holidays. Nice to see you as well, Vinny. She had one wish for Santa, and the courts here in the Bahamas, they granted it. Even despite her husband taking the stand, being sworn in and testifying that he's afraid of her. She is now able to travel to the U.S. and leave for the holidays. Here's her reaction after. Lindsay, your reaction to going home. Your message for the boys. Mr. Wells, what's your reaction?
None of this time.
Lindsay, are you excited to see the boys? Your message for your boys at home?
Excuse me.
What's it mean to be going home, Lindsay? The former Alabama beauty queen not really answering questions, but smirking at times when I was asking her questions there. What we do know is that she is now heading home for the holidays.
While Lindsay has been in Alabama with her parents, she has been unable to see her children since the return. She alleges that on January the 3rd of 2024, Robert was preventing her from seeing her children at a supervised visit. Whether the reason behind the issue was that Robert is afraid for the children's safety, or if Robert is attempting to punish Lindsay for what had happened, well, that's still up in the air. While the case is still ongoing for Lindsay at this time, there's questions of will the case be thrown out, or will she and the others end up spending years behind bars? Despite the ongoing divorce, Robert is moving on with his life. In September of 2023, he began dating Savannah Chrisley, a reality TV personality. The two confirmed the romance in November of 2023 with photos on social media of a smiling couple. Will his new relationship go somewhere? Will he be able to trust again? Only time will tell. Murder for hire can be chosen by anyone. Rich or poor, husbands or wives, friends or co-workers, individuals will hire a killer out of desperation, greed, revenge, or anger. They don't want to split the money or the property with someone they can't stand or someone they're just tired of. Individuals like this don't feel they should share or split anything with the person or the target of their anger. They believe they deserve to get all they want, and they aren't going to let anyone stand in the way nor share, certainly not a soon-to-be ex-spouse or intimate partner. Statistics show the following. Male offenders are 7 times more likely than females to commit murder, but in much smaller numbers between genders regarding the solicitation of murder. Females made up 37% of those carrying out the actual murders. The reasons why? Well, 13% said it was to silence a witness, and 10% claimed revenge. The FBI continues to combat murder-for-hire plots, which became a recognized federal crime back in the 1950s. If you think you are in danger from a loved one or a partner, here are some safety measures for both men and women. First of all, leave. If you have children or pets, take them with you. Tell the police. See a lawyer. Find a local safety network. Protect your valuables in a safety deposit box. Have a safe place prepared. Make your home secure. And keep a journal of the events that occur. Do not let your guard down and return to that environment. You must stay vigilant as to what's happening around you. Divorce may cost some money, but when both sides are fair and walk away amicably, it is far better than spending the rest of your life in a 6 by 8 foot cell. Go your separate ways and start your life over with a clean slate, rather than throw your life away completely. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like the video, comment down below your take on it, and please subscribe to the channel. Also hit the notification bell in order to stay up to date each time we reveal a new shocking case. Until next time, stay safe and keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's lurking in the shadows.